Okay, I believe everything is running, which is good. Um, Hello everyone, it is I7s. We are going to be doing some pixel art today. I need to pull you guys up on my phone real quick. For those that are new to the channel, I normally see all of y'all on my phone. So we're going to be doing that. I don't imagine that this would be a very long stream. Um, But yeah, we're gonna do some pixel art. So on the right, you probably see an hourglass, and I've been working on that for about, I think, 2 days. And the reason why we have this tab on the left is that the project that I want to do uh, is going to be really, really simple. So we have, because I first just started with the colors that you see right here. We have a nice black color right here, and then got this kind of brown with an orange, and then right here we got this color right here, right there, and then we have an off dark mustard yellow with a nice pastel tan, and then we have gray. So if you count them, the magic number is 7, because my name is Sevens. And so this project is going to be uh, working where we um, will make 7 art pieces. This is one. Um, and let's see, not that. Yeah, there we go. We're going to make 7 art pieces, and the idea is, I don't know what they are yet. I'm going to discover them as we go. But we're going to limit ourselves to only these 7 colors right here. We're going to use the exact same ones for everything that gets made. Um, so yes. Now, before we officially begin our brand new one, I am going to add um, some detail right here, because I need I'm not able for this project to use any kind of specialized effects. So I am limiting myself from being able to use effects like making things, how do I say, like changing opacity or anything like that. Um, and the reason why I'm doing that is I really want to challenge myself to get creative with a limited palette. Um, I think it'll be a way more interesting to do that than not. I don't like that. So that's what we're going to do. And for today's particular episode, maybe I just remove that one entirely. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of back and forth. That's typically how I do art, is I test out the pixels and I see if I like what they're doing. And if I don't, then we change it up a bit. But yeah, the bit of critique that I got on this piece is that the background post right here is a bit noticeable. And so I'm adding tactical pixels for the glass to kind of like put it more in the background, because we can't use effects to make it less intense. We can use effects like this right here. I can make it darker in the back using the colors that we have to kind of more so put it really into the background. And that I will do, like what I'm doing right now. But the challenge of this is not just adding a brand new color because we want to, um, and to really just authentically, now it's too dark back there, um, us authentically making several pieces with this challenge in mind. Um, So yeah, and I'm going to continue with this project by working on other pieces, and we're going to come up with another one. I think I like this. I don't want to add too many. Maybe we can. I see one thing we can do. We can add a nice. Um, oh, I grabbed the wrong thing. Is this? No, that's not part of it. I need to organize this so much better. I'm normally better um, at organizing this kind of stuff than I am. No, I don't like that now. It's too busy. Um, yeah, that's the thing, is it's like we have to put it in the back, but we have to do it without feeling like it's getting crowded. That's one thing we don't want, is a crowded feeling. I think I will leave it like that. Let's see, we can probably move this one. Let's see, if I remove it outright. Yeah, I do like that. We can raise this one up a little bit. Now it's doing that thing with the gray in the back. We can put like a pixel here. Now get rid of that one. Put that right there. Get rid of that. Okay, I think we will stick with this. It's a little bit shrouded because of these few pixels here and here. I think that that would be a better option. So we're going to save this, and then if I do anything else, it would be like off the stream. But we're going to copy these colors, and we're going to start now on a new project, and it's going to be 128 by 128. So we can get rid of all these, and then we can post these back. All right, so we have our colors, and let me check the audio. I got to do that. Okay, cool. The audio is coming in good. So what we're going to now do is I want to, let me make a few layers, and I will call this the base. So we have an hourglass, and I want this to be kind of artsy, you know, like whatever I end up, whatever the project is. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to look and see what kind of art that pixel artists have done. Pixel art, um, let's see, and then we're gonna do like money. And so the idea is I want to see what other people have done. Coin bags, coins. Now I do not directly copy anything. I do not like that idea. Um, but we can get inspiration from other artists. Money bag. I've made a money bag before, but and although they, you know, like this one is heavily detailed, I think that's quite pretty. I'm trying to think if money is the way I want to go. We could do a bunch of coins. Let's see, gold coins. That's true too. I'm trying to decide what I want the next piece to be. So let's look at some trees. Trees are always nice. There's a lot of different kinds of trees. Like that one's really pretty. I like that one right there. Now let's look at real life trees. So let's some of these are ones that I know from playing RuneScape back in the day. Hue trees. That is an interesting tree right there. Okay. What about a maple tree? Okay. Maple trees have some oranges that we can work with, and reds. Let's take this one. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to open this image in another tab. And I'm going to attempt to make a maple tree. And again, my process is a bunch of back and forth. We might not even use all these layers, but we're going to try and make essentially the tree um, on the left with just these colors. So we can kind of agree. I want the light to come from the same side, which is over here, and also over here. All on the left side. It's like a giant beam is coming that way. And much like the hourglass, we are going to borrow a lot of the ideas of the hourglass and add it to this piece. So that means that these 5 colors with bits of actually all of them, will be used for highlights and the base color. So unlike the hourglass, I will try and limit how many layers I end up making so I don't get confused with all the different layers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so let's just start painting. Now I see the picture. I want to explain some of my process for those that want to get into pixel art. I chose pixel art because of the nostalgia it brings for me, looking back at a lot of the classic games I used to play. And perhaps I can show you guys after, like, when we make some good headway. It brings back a bunch of nostalgia. And I would say that for me, the it makes sense to me. I think it's very important to pick something, and I've been more, as you can probably see with the channel, I've been working on a lot of different ideas, and I want to continue to experiment with more ideas. And so I wanted to try pixel art for the channel, but tying that back, pixel art for me is something that is simple and yet has such a high learning curve. It can easily like get quite complex, like lighting. Oh my goodness, I've seen some expertly like back on the hourglass as an example. It's got lighting as well as and stuff, but like right here, like the idea of not even having an edge for glass, like that just blew my mind. I saw a piece that had just that component, and I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta try and make that happen. So once I finished, quotation marks finished, the hourglass, I was like, okay, so now that I have made this, I want to see what other pieces I can go about making using the same color and strategies of trying to get the most out of the least. Because I have a lot to learn, and I know that when it comes to pixel art and color theory and stuff. And I took a lot of this stuff in school, but never really thought much of it at the time. I think some of it was because I was just honestly not interested. I had the college mindset, but I was also just not legitimately interested in the kind of styles that we were taught. Right now I'm trying to think where, like, the importance with, this is my interpretation, alright? Everything that you see is not because I have an super educated art background. This is just vibes, as the young kids probably say. But these tree limbs, there's a system to it where it's like, okay, which limb would likely branch off into smaller branches, right? Not all of them would do that. Like small limbs won't necessarily, like there's certain, I don't know how to explain it, but certain points where it's like, okay, this would be a branch, and like right here would be a branch. So even this knot right here. There we go. That feels, yeah, that feels pretty good. I think it needs to be a bit longer. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a nice little trick of just going like this. And then we're going to add some more tree trunk to it. There we go. Okay, we can make this a bit longer. Now some of this is going to be covered up because we're going to make another layer. And that layer is going to, we'll have some lower branches as well. We'll even have ones that are literally just like that, to add like a feeling of a lack of something, if that makes sense. We won't overkill it. We'll probably do it like, yeah, probably like that. And then we need smaller branches. As well. Okay. We need to flesh them out. We need to add some more weight to earlier parts of them so that they can be more scrawny and go out further. So, like so. This one needs to be out further. We need this one out. This is a small one, so this can stay small. Okay. We need some on this side to add dimension to it. This is gonna be so fun when it comes to shading it. But that's okay. There we go. I'm gonna add a pixel right there. I don't like how that looked without one. Okay. We'll go like that. Cool. We can add a little bit more to the weight of this. And then this can go up a little bit. We can add one big branch right here. Maybe arc it up a little bit. You can still have a part right here. There we go. I like the look of that. I think that that looks nice. Give it a, yes, something like that. I kind of think of pixel art like carving, which is funny because I'm making a tree, so don't get offended, tree. But I kind of think of it like carving, or where like you add a few pixels and then you're like, I want to carve this out, and then it's like, oh, there we go. I kind of like that. And for me, it's like you just test what ends up working. If it doesn't work, then you have to go back to the drawing board. There we go. We don't want to go too far down because of the fact that then we enter a problem where there's too many branches that would not make sense for how low we're going on the tree itself. But yeah, I think that this is fine. This looks nice. I don't really make this kind of like pixel art content, and I should probably do more of that. So we're gonna call this tree. Okay, there we go, tree. We're not done, don't worry. But let's see. So we're gonna add a new layer. This is the shading lighting layer. And so because of our limited palette, we will go gradually. So again, the light is coming from the left, so we want to really make that noticeable. And this is definitely gonna, I have my hand on the Control Z because there's gonna be a bunch of going back and forth. we are going to add, um, and we're going to take away, and we're going to be doing a lot of stuff for the shadow. So like the shadow is not going to be passing pretty much like right around here. So we want to, I do not want to do dithering. I like dithering. Dithering, for those that are new, is kind of like using this as a, it doesn't have to be exactly like this. It can also be like, here's another example. You can use dithering like this to create a shading effect, and then, gradually go out, and then there would be no more of a pattern. I do not want to do that. I'm going to do what we did with the hourglass. We're going to build to it into pieces. So yes, we're going to avoid dithering by making this. Okay. So something like that. Do I like that? Yeah, I think that looks nice. So we're gonna soften some of this. And although it's not dithering, we are gonna create pockets of the dark brown maroon color coming through at certain points. Again, just kind of trimming it because of the idea that lighting is not straightforward. Lighting does what it wants. And if it wants to do a particular thing, then it's going to do that particular thing. So we need to be understanding of lighting. And I think I'm going to subdivide it, so we're going to focus on this part of it first. Alright, so I kind of like that in terms of the lighting. Now we're going to add some really bright spots. So we need to build to them. We have to cross some colors to get there. And that's going to be a little tricky. So we're going to add some of these dark yellows. And that's going to head to this tan that we have. Again, a lot of building to these colors. Some of the ones in the back will be, for example, more the yellow. We need a few more to soften the colors. Let's see. We can add some back here strategically. Ooh, no, I want to put that back. Okay. Nope, that's too bright. And then some grays as an offset. We're going to continue to experiment with this. And then we're going to add some of this kind of like off-white at certain key moments. We need to brighten this up. Now it's too dark there. Go like that. Add a dark yellow back here. That. Alright, now we can add a little bit more orange because of the fact that we took away the orange from the space before. We can add back some of that. Get rid of that one. I think that stuck out too much. Add that back. Maybe change the order right here. I think it's too bright at that point. Okay. Now the idea is this little nub right here is a little bit darker. So we'll go like this, and we'll add one right there, and then it's going to gradually, we'll add a gray there because I feel like a nice gray spot would make sense. And so we'll go like this, and then we'll add this off color here. We'll add a yellow to soften it. We'll add some orange right there. Need to add some orange here to thicken this up a little bit. There we go. Okay, get rid of that. Bring that down. Okay, we can add that to soften that. And now we are getting darker again because of the angle. It's still bright, but it's still going to be darker than what it was. Bring it out a little bit. Maybe add some extra weight to it. And then it'll just be orange. And then we can add a gray there and a gray there. I think I don't like the gray there. I think something should be there. Maybe right around there. There we go. So the idea is the light is hitting primarily right here and then here. But because the tree is now going up and to the left, then the shading should start getting darker. So let's thicken this up a little bit. And then let's actually, hold on. Yeah, that's fine. And then dark. Alright. So we need probably some more of this. Yeah, like that. Probably that. So before we continue over up on the left side, let us go back, and then we want to add some dark spots. Yeah, we'll go like that. And then we want to do it as well on this side. So I'm trying to think. The root is going to be a little bit dark here. We'll worry about ground later, but this root right here is going up. So we want to make it where it covers, creates a shadow effect from the angle of the sun. And then the sun is still, when I mean sun, I mean light. The light is still hitting right here. So it's highlighting this. Oh man, the word's escaping me. But it's highlighting this. So we want probably no, let's see what it looks like with a little bit of shadow. I'm not sure that I like that. But we do know that over here would be dark. More than likely. Maybe something like that. Erase that. There we go. And we do know that the right side, much like the hourglass, is also going to be dark. And we want this to be, oh yeah, that's right, because it's down below. We do know that we want this to be, and we might even extend it. We want it to be quite thick with the darkness. And again, I'm trying to avoid dithering, but I do want to still have fragments of the other color bleeding in, especially to give it shape. And because we're working with such a limited palette that we need to do different I might, hold on, I need to go back to the base and add, there we go. I will add some right there. Because I want to add shape. And one of the best ways to do that is with the occasional pixel of the other color. At least that's my opinion. So, yeah, there we go. And then we even want to do that to balance off with that. Yes. The occasional pixel here and there, because it's the idea that it is quite dark on the opposing side. And it also, I feel like lighting, this is just my personal opinion, but lighting does a great job of adding texture. Because like this tree on the left, using that for a second, if we look right here, we can tell that this tree has some texturing right there. But we are not able to just like freely do that by using pixel art. We are still limited by the pixel. Maybe like that. We're still limited by the fact that we're using pixels. So we have to get clever with how we texture. And I feel like this method would be a good way to do that. This is looking nice. I really like how this is going to play out. Now, it's going to get a lot more complicated when we actually start adding leaves. So in my mind, what we're going to do is we're going to finish, not this all in one stream, but we are going to finish the shading before commencing with the adding leaves. If you're watching this now or in the future, make sure you like and subscribe. I recently got a Instagram page, got a few followers there, which is pretty cool. Thank you for following. I appreciate it. And that's where I will post some of my pixel art designs. You can also see some on the Ko-fi page. They might be pieces that I've made a bit ago. But yeah, that's and when I'm not doing this, I play games. A lot of you probably know me from Oxygen Not Included, which don't worry, I'm not going anywhere with that. But yes, that is where you can find me. I kind of like working from the shadow side. The color was so particular. We can even do a crazy little thing like so. Yeah, maybe something like that. And then add some dark-ish colors here and there. And then maybe we can delete a few to kind of give it the feeling that it like wrapped up. No, I don't like the grays. Bad choice in the grays. And I think this needs to go back to orange. Yeah, we don't need to mess with too much of the color, but this is a limb that is kind of going towards us, is what I wanted to create. The feeling that that is what's happened. It needs to be thicker-ish there. I know, I just backpedaled on that. Okay. I might fiddle with that at a later point. But let's continue moving up here. There we go. Maybe something like that. Yeah, that I like that. Um, Coming over here, we can add some more, and this is kind of easy because we're easy in quotation marks again, because we just need to add a singular pixel for the feeling of shading. There we are. And then we're gonna assume that some of the branches are getting a little bit of light. Maybe not the most. Maybe like right there. That one is, and maybe the tip. And maybe right there. So some of it is getting some light. But not, yeah, again, not the most. I like that. It's like it's peeking through. Alright, back to the shadow. So paint a good amount there. There we go. Alright, this is looking pretty good right now. We can cut off some of this. I think I want to change how thin this part is. Yeah, we'll change it a little bit. There we go. That looks a little bit better. I was watching the other day. I don't know the channel's name. I know it was like through Xbox or something like that. This interview with John Romero. For those that don't know, and this probably shows my age a little bit, John Romero is one of the three guys, I think three, Tom Hall and John Carmack, that made Doom, like the original Doom. And his perspective on like game development, which is also another project that I'm working on too, is just, it's really cool. Back in the day when you had MS-DOS, which basically is a computer, and it stood for Microsoft Disk Operating System. When you had that back in the day, you could play Doom and a lot of other classic games, and a lot of these games came with, I don't think the term's really used anymore, but shareware versions the of games. And essentially it's just a demo of a game. But it also felt more than just a demo. It was free, and it can, like, a great example is with Commander Keen, another game that they made. In Commander Keen, you would be able to play, like, there were 3 episodes that had all their levels in them. But you would be able to play the first episode, like, for free. And it was called shareware because you would be able to share it with other people. Quite clever. Um, and he was talking about how, in a way, he was asked like his views of subscription services and things like that to be able to play games. And I didn't ever think of it that way because I have my views on that. But essentially, he was talking about how, and I could actually see it. He was talking about how um, it with shareware and with subscription services now, it's kind of like the evolution of it, which was a very fascinating take that I did not think about. Um, oh yeah, I was testing out this idea of sectioned shading to see if it worked elsewhere, but it didn't. But I think it works there because of the idea of like how this branch is going. I can't really explain it, but I feel like it works there. Instead of like following it through this way, it's just like it's heading and turning and twisting this way. So we will leave that and just see how we feel about that later. So yeah, you were talking about that. And I'm trying to think of what else was kind of said in the interview that I thought was quite fascinating. He's still working on his own FPS, which is really cool. But yeah, I've been listening a lot more to game developers and reading their like general story, and it's just some of the things that go like their perspectives is really interesting. Okay, we're adding lighting now because we made it all the way up here. Let's see, we can add the occasional gray. There we go, to offset the color and add some variety. And then this should be dark. Yeah, I'm gonna undo that gray actually. I'm gonna make it dark. And then we're gonna add some shadow right there because of the idea that only right around here we'll have a little bit of light, but then it gradually gets darker. And then shadow. Something like that. Let's see, if I go like that, do I like that? If I go like this, do I like that? Might want to just keep it with orange. No, don't like that either. Less intense. I don't know. Now it's back to what it is. I might have to fiddle with that one as well. This would be orange with maybe some thickening, given the location of where the light is probably going to be. And then we won't add that much light in this area. We'll just keep it like that. And some off, not dithering. We are not dithering, but we are adding some spots. Okay. Oh, and we can go like that. And then it's like, we'll get rid of that. It's like the tree went like this, and then on the other side. Yeah, something like that. There we go. Maybe that works. Okay. So now it's going to get tricky because we still have this side, which is fine. But like that. Get rid of that one, maybe. Go like that. No, I can't decide. Something like that. Yes. Trying to keep up with the angles is going to be a problem. There we go. Because it's definitely still going to be dark on the this side. we can do that, and maybe that one, and let's see that. Yeah, we could do those. I won't touch those. Let's get back down here. I sometimes wonder, because of the random games I used to play, if anyone else out there like even knows what Commander Keen is. Like, I know that there's other people that know what Commander Keen is, but like chatting, I've not had a conversation with anyone that really knows those games. They were so fun as a kid though. We're gonna go like this, and the reason is we are going to offset it with the idea that this is a bright branch that's coming off. Yeah, like that. And then this one is also bright. We can even give it a tip. There we go. Aha! I like that. Okay, let's do this one as well. This is gonna be super bright because it's directly next to the light source. This one's a little bit duller, but it'll also be bright. We can add a gray. Adding a gray is nice. We can add one right there. Maybe we can add one right there, and something like that. Few highlights. There we go. Maybe get rid of that. And that one. Alright, and then variety. We'll add a few dark yellows. And then we can even brighten up this. Because of the idea of, like, again, lighting will hit its spots. Maybe line that one up too. Brings the eye to look at something. Line up this a little bit. There we go. Something else to look at. And then there we go. Cool. I like that. That's turning out nice. So then we want to do the same. And these are going to be dark with that. And I'm not going to brighten that one up because of the idea that it's dark because of its being beneath this. A little thick here. Okay. Yeah, this is looking nice. I think for this stream, we'll finish up these branches and I'll call it here. So that way we can have more stuff to do on the next stream. But this should add some good amount of time. Let's see, yellow, there we go. And then we can add some orange to offset. There we go. And perhaps, no, that I don't like the vibe of that gray or that gray. We'll not add that there. But here, we'll start with the bright colors here and there, and then work away from them. Perhaps something like that. and then we can actually add a color there. Add a dark color right there. We'll add a gray and a gray. Yeah, I like that. Those are nice grays right there. I don't know if choosing a tree was that was also with orange kind of a cheat, but I just do not care. Um, I definitely want this project to go well. I had to break it up. I liked the effect, but for me it started looking like I was dithering again, and I don't want that. I really want to learn other techniques other than just dithering. Man, this Vietnamese coffee is so good. Okay. Now, this limb is going to be a little confusing. I already could tell. So we're going to just start on this side. And I don't think I'll add shadow on this side because of its location. We'll borrow from the other one. There, oh, get rid of that. Yeah, add a few marks here and there. Perfect. Then we're going to be adding the bright color, which makes sense given the position of these. And then perhaps add a gray. And then some tans. And then some of the mustard and oranges. Maybe add another. There we go. I don't like that single floating pixel, so we'll get rid of that. Might want to also delete that. There we go. Make it less pointy. So then we will go with oranges with a few occasional spots here and there. There we go. Thicken it a little bit. And then maybe just the occasional spot here and there. And then maybe, we'll keep that. Get rid of that one. Put it right back. I kind of like that. Get rid of that. And then maybe like that. Create a feeling that it's heading down into a yes, something like that. Maybe more like that. I don't know. I don't know. This, yeah, we'll work with that. So some of the reason why the lighting is not as intense as it is right here, up here, is I'm trying to think ahead of time for when, is that a, yep, that's a pixel. For when we put all the leaves. So a lot of this stuff we might not even see. That's the funny part of pixel art, is a lot of this we might not even end up seeing. But we will add some brightness here and here because of the fact of, we'll even add it here. There we go. And then some darkness right there. Not really darkness, but you know, less bright. Put a gray, put a gray, put a gray. Actually, this is a little bit too dark, so we can add back. There we go. That's what we wanted. And then this can go all right there. And then we can add a darkness right there. And an orange. Yeah, I'm liking that. There we go. Need to add back some of the color here, like some of the brighter colors. And then add back some orange, and then this needs some orange, given the angle that the sun should be hitting that. No, that's too close in pattern. Something like that. And then we need a gray. And then we can actually add a little bit of a tan there. Maybe another one right there. There we go. Okay. This is looking pretty good. So I think I'll do a little bit of touch up. We'll add some more brightness here because we want it consistent with that, and it looked like it was lacking. And we don't want that. There we go. Some brightness right there, and then we need to add a gray to offset it. Then we can add an orange right there. No, but we can add a, there we go. And then probably we can get away with that. Maybe. I might go back on this entire section. There we go. We can go with something like that. Some orange needs to be around here to bring back the tie-in to the dark color here. Some right there. This is mostly lighting for texture. Yes. There we go. Cool. Alright, yeah. Because we don't want the feeling that these branches don't have some amount of light to them. Yes. So I think this is a good stopping point. So it'll make more sense. Right now it looks kind of like a weird alien tree. But when using another layer real quick, when we this is just a quick mock-up, but when we add the leaves, right? And this is not how I would do it, but it's kind of funny. It'll be kind of like that, and then those will peek through, and then we'll add and take away a lot, add, take away. Then we would add color, take away, add more color, take away, you know, that kind of stuff. Add highlights on this side, and then add dark on this side, and there you go, the end tree. But we're gonna be doing a lot more than just that, but it's gonna be kind of like that. But that'll be on the next time that I stream it. But for right now, we're gonna end it here. I think this is good. I'm Sevens. Hope you enjoyed this. If you have any ideas for the next thing that I should make after this project, let me know, because I still want to make 5 other things after this. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, and you probably now see all the behind the scenes stuff right here. Wow, we've had 3 people. I'm glad you joined. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright.